I was thinking the other day, if I would ever get another co-founder, that would obviously be non-technical because I'm the technical part already. What would be the activities that they would need to bring to the table? And now from my experience, I started as a developer. I'm coding since I'm 17. And then I founded a software development agency. Then I got out of it, started 1-2 startups which failed. And then I built another dev agency. And now we're building a venture studio. So I have quite a bit of experience working with non-technical people, either my co-founders, but also the co-founders of my clients. And in this video, I just wanted to give a quick list of what I think are these main activities. And the first one is customer development. This is, of course, finding the customers in the first place, bringing them in, and applying the marketing to them. So finding out what they need, what this group needs in general, and then directing a solution for them. So really figuring out what their desires are, how they purchase, what problems they have, and then building a solution that works for those problems. And the third thing I would say is bring those customers closer to the development team, because the developers in the end also need to exactly understand what the problem is that they are solving and how these people work with the software. The developer has incredible control over how the UX of a software will be. And if they understand better what the actual user, the end user for the software product is, the better they can actually code the solution. I once had a co-founder who was really skilled with pre-sales, and this helped us a lot. Eventually the product folded because it was not the exact perfect solution. This is where we get to product management later. But the pre-sales were solid. So she went in and she sold to a couple of her consulting clients the solution that we're about to build. So this would cash flow us. This was super important. And in the end, if we would have had the right solution, this product would have probably worked really well because she had existing coaching clients and consulting clients. So she would have been able to sell the whole thing. This really reminded me that pre-sales is super important. If that's possible to pre-sell a software product, and usually it is if the pain is big enough, then it would alleviate a lot of other pain that starts in the software development process. So for example, if you're building something that is not actually completely solving a customer's problem, then all kinds of problems occur because the solution that starts to get built then is like software is like a tanker, like an oil tanker on the sea. It's really hard. The bigger it gets, it's really hard to steer it around. So once you build something, it is hard to change that solution. So that's the way where pre-sales really help a software product. And she was able to do that. She would find these clients, they would deposit money, and then we could pay the developer. So this was definitely something I learned from that experience. Sadly, that this product folded, but it really left an impression for me that this is something for sure every non-technical co-founder needs to do. The second thing is product management. And this is somewhat related to the first point, customer development. And this is also the point where my ex-co-founder failed because the actual product was not good enough and didn't address the exact needs. So there was a bit of a marketing fail, but nonetheless, the pre-sales were solid. Now for the product management, this is something where a lot of non-technical co-founders don't put too much emphasis on that because the product is the thing that actually gets sold in the software. In a software, it's not a salesperson that you're trusting. It is something that is digital. It's an interface, usually a website or an app, and that needs to sell. So that needs to exactly map the problems of that customer group to the actual solution that this thing makes. And in order to do that, that also means getting a broad overview about the market, figuring out how other software products deal with problems like that, figuring out what's the best approach to solve a certain problem, and then also help with some UX decisions. So if the developers come back and have some idea about how they're going to build a feature, the product or the non-technical co-founder, in this case, the product person in this context, they need to know what's the priority of some feature, what is the standard way to use that feature, and what would be for that customer group a really good way to use that feature. So can we build something that is really good for that customer group and then give even some UX advice? Because especially in smaller teams, maybe there is no UX person, or the UX person just got brought in for like a day of work to scaffold something generic, like this is the app layout. And then you have to now go ahead and figure out the small details of every feature. This is usually the case because there's not always a UX person on the founder team. By the way, Airbnb I think in Airbnb, most of the co-founders were actually from the design side. This is why this product looks so nice. And so these things are important, because also the non-technical co-founder probably needs to sell that thing. It's better if they actually understand the features fully and can tell to the client, yeah, we designed it like that because we know this is what people need and this was the best way to design that feature. And the third thing is a bit of an optional thing. I would put it as project management, because sometimes the technical side of things, they're getting caught up in making a solution that is super nice. And yes, if you have a great developer or a great agency or a great CTO, usually they know how to make something that's very fast and still ships the features. They don't get caught up in making something that is too technical, that's too perfect. Because perfection is not possible in startups. It's not something we should aim for. And now, if that's not the case, so if you have a development team that is still too much in their heads or too much focused on making a great solution, then the non-technical co-founder can come in and help with, for example, with setting deadlines, with pushing to weekly demos so that we get a new version out every week. And the last most important point here, which probably needs to get done in any case, testing. The non-technical co-founder needs to test, because only then they know if something is ready to give to the clients. And that person is also the one who knows the clients the most. So testing is super important. If a non-technical co-founder is not testing enough, that's a red flag, because maybe they don't care enough about the project or they don't have enough time. So yeah, we can supplement with testers, but usually in startups, testers are not there. So the founding team needs to do that. That's the best thing non-technical co-founder can do. Test everything and then is able to sell much better. And this is just my humble experience from around 23 years of software development through different stages. And I've been always on the technical side. So if you've been on the non-technical side, what would you add to that list? And also, if you are building a software yourself right now, or you have some struggle with that, you can book a coaching call on my website. Just send me an email and we set up a call.